The international break is upon us, guys. Welcome back to Big Stevie Cool 1872. And tonight on the channel, we're going to be discussing Philip Clement. And are we delaying the inevitable? And what I mean by that is it just inevitably that he's going to get sacked? I mean, I look at how Beale ended. I was like, let's sack him before we drop any more points. And lo and behold, we dropped more points. You know, you think of that Aberdeen game, getting pumped 3-1 at Ibrox. I look at the game for Gio, you know, the numerous games towards the end. It's like, get rid of him. There's no style of play. I wish Philip Clement well in his future endeavours, but see, at the end of the day, I put this club before anything, and Philip Clement's not done a good enough job, and I think it feels like we're just waiting around till things get that bad and we sack him. Now, he could turn it around, massive if. Because I don't see it happening. I mean, we're 5 points behind Aberdeen and Celtic. I get it. I mean, in terms of Aberdeen, you can't really do much to close the gap in them once you're already 5 behind. If they keep winning their games, because you've got to rely on other teams taking points off Aberdeen. But, you know, I don't think it's acceptable for us to be this points behind Aberdeen. I mean, we should have beat Hearts. Hearts are absolutely awful. And as for the Celtic game, it was embarrassing. So when you look at it like that, Big Stevie, a lot of us aren't happy. And honestly, I don't really see signs either. Like, I mean, I talked about yesterday how I thought the Malmo game was good, but, you know, people are commenting, oh, Malmo were gashing. They were. I mean, we should have beaten them about 7-0, but, you know, winning in Europe, away from home, keeping a clean sheet, it's just going to be held in a higher regard than beating anybody in the league, unless he can beat Celtic away from home, which he can't even beat them at home, so maybe we can put that in the back burner for now. But, I mean, it's like only 2 games at 17 this season I thought were good. You know, beating Ross County 6-0, I saw signs there. Beating Malmo, I mean, it was a good performance, even if the finishing was bad. But see, apart from that, man, this season's been diabolical. And, you know, any positives get outweighed by the negatives. And I'm not here to repeat the same old stuff, because, I mean, I feel like a lot of people, I mean, I'm guilty included, I think we have repeated the same old stuff. But when you keep on saying the same old things play out week in, week out, you have to repeat the same old things. So, I mean, that's not a dig at anyone. I mean, if anything, it's a dig at Clement, it's a dig at certain players. Like, yeah, you know, I wouldn't have started Tierney yesterday, but if he didn't start Tierney, where would the goals have came from? Big questions like that would have to be answered. But I just look at this and I think, where does it go for here? There's no style of play. And I mean, I've banged on about this for months. It just feels like that this guy is inevitably going to get sacked. And I think once it feels like that under a managerial reign, it's too far gone. You know, with Beale, right, when he came in, the first 6 months, the rest of that 22-23 season, no one was calling for Beale's head, but seeing he got the money splashed on us and then we lost to Celtic, it was like, right, he needs to go. And then it was like, and keeping them, it's just going to cost us more points. And that is exactly what it ended up doing. Because, you know, you lost to Aberdeen, things like that, and ended up 5 points behind. And, you know, he got us the Europa League final, got us Champions League football, but seeing you were getting scudded week in, week out in the Champions League, and Celtic beat us, I believe it was 3-0 in the first Old Firm of the season. The writing was on the wall, man. You can see when the writing's on the wall for a manager. They never turn it around. I mean, everyone talks about Sir Alex Ferguson, oh well, United sacked him, but he seems to be like the only example in football in history that people bring up. You know, I'd be shocked if Clement turns this around, man. I really, really would. And that's not me being negative, but I look at Twitter, man, and I see more accounts that I follow each day beginning to turn. They're putting pictures of Clement blacked out, be like, you know, like the red circle through it and the line across. No smoking. No smoking. All that good stuff, but I think the writing's on the wall, man. I honestly, I can't see how Philip Clement... I think the longest he'll last to is the 3rd of January. But I wouldn't be surprised if he falls further behind between now and then, because, I mean, it's just going to get toxic at the end of the day. It's going to get toxic at Ibrox, man, and once it gets to that level, you're humped. And when you look at, you know, the next 3 games across the board for the top 3 teams, I think it's going to be very defining of the season. You know, we've got Killie away, then we've got St Mirren at home and away to Aberdeen. Aberdeen have got Celtic away, Dundee United, and then they're at home obviously to us. I don't necessarily remember Celtic's games right, but you know, if we end these 3 games any more points behind either team, and I'm including Aberdeen in that. I don't think Aberdeen will be there at the end of the season, right? I do like my joking, you know, I do like my wee jabs at Celtic, like Aberdeen are going to win the league, right? But in all seriousness, I don't think they will be. The longer it goes on, you're going to have to consider them. But after these next 3 games, if Celtic are 8-10 clear of us, or if vice versa Aberdeen, that has to land on Clement's head. And I honestly think at that stage, man, it's Jake over here, big man. I think at that stage he's got to go. I mean, we're Rangers, you can't be behind that, but it's 2024, man. I mean, if you're that far behind Aberdeen, I don't know what to tell you, man. I think he'll be away. I think the latest Clement will last to the 3rd of January. I mean, but he has to get an Old Firm, right? But then you've got to factor in, there's going to be a cup semi-final that he has to win against Motherwell. And then the way Aberdeen are playing, would you fancy us to beat them in a cup final? And that's just Aberdeen. I mean, what if you factor it? Then you've got to factor in we haven't won a game against Celtic. It's going to be, see this Christmas, up to Christmas period, it's going to make or break Philip Clement. Like, if he finally gets the monkey off his back and puts Celtic to the sword and retains the League Cup, and you know, we get to January and there's a bit of momentum and you can do something at Ibrox, then maybe. But I'm not going to fall for it again with this team. I need more than beating Hibs 1-0 at home and scraping 2-0 over the line against St Johnstone to give me hope. I need consistency. I need runs. I need something, you know. I'm not going to throw my toys at the pram because we lost 4-1 to Leon. I mean, as I said, I thought against Leon we were better than we were against St Johnstone and Hibs, but it just shows you the quality difference. So, that's what it is, guys. Leave your thoughts down below, and peace.